Hey gang, welcome back to Inverted Pursuits Laboratory. So in the last video, we finished the EggFinder LCD display in this case. So that's the EggFinder LCD in the back of the case. And for the next video, we are going, or for this video, I should say, we are going to be working on the EggFinder LCD GPS module. So the entire thing comes in this bag and we're gonna go through the entire assembly process. I know for some of you guys, these videos are very long. I'm just trying to show you all how these things go together, little tips and tricks I find along the way that can help you have more success building your EggFinder system. All right, so when we open up our EggFinder bag, actually we're gonna adjust the camera here a little bit, get out of it. The EggFinder LCD GPS bag, we have, just like in all of the EggFinder kits, a kit of parts list, which this is my favorite thing. Lets me know what I'm looking for as I go through it. And just like before, we will organize everything very precisely. So, bag is now empty. We'll set this off to the side. So in here we have more solder. I'm actually not going to open this because I've still got some left over from building the LCD module until I run out, not opening the next one. We have our bag full of goodies. We have a little jumper wire. So this would be considered the 8-inch 3-conductor jumper, female to female. It is green, blue, and purple. This is listed as one of the loose items. Also within the loose items they list, we have 4 number 4 1-inch nylon machine screws, 4 number 4 nylon spacers, 4 number 4 nylon hex nuts, and of course the coil of solder. So we'll set those off to the side. I imagine these are how they're intending you to mount them. Going to be very handy actually moving forward trying to mount them. But real quick, we will open up the electronics and go through. This unit is very small and I really like that. It's not a big unit. I didn't make it bulkier than it needs to be. One of my favorite things about the EggFinder system and all of the egg timer systems, to be precise, is that they're not bigger than they need to be. That looks like a piece of leftover from the last project. I am trying to collect and get rid of all my trash. So we have our circuit board with pre-mounted GPS. I'm really glad that they pre-mount the GPS. This is not something that would be easy to mount. We have the amber LED 3mm. It may be clear, but that's an amber LED. It'll probably glow yellow is what they're saying. We have 3-pin right angle header. This will be what we use to plug in our jumper between the GPS unit and the LCD finder. We have 330 ohm resistors right here in this paper. They're 1206 size and they are marked 331. We also have 10 microfarad 1206 size capacitors in clear plastic carrier. And then we have the 0.1 microfarad 1206 capacitor in the paper carrier. So these are all of our initial parts. There's not a lot that goes into this. I could probably put this together without reading the instructions. I am not going to do that though, because that is a very bad idea and a very quick way to get yourself in trouble. But it's pretty straightforward to see that one of our 331s is going to go on the 331 pad. We have a 0.1 microfarad pad where the 0.1 microfarad capacitor will go. We have a 10 microfarad capacitor to go on the 10 microfarad pad. And then we've got our 3-pin connector, which will definitely be going off the back for our connection. And then we've got a 1S where the LED goes. The LED is a polarized item. Usually the longer pin is your ground, if my memory serves. I'll have to read the instructions again on that. But we will now go ahead and jump into building this since we have all of our parts. All right, so when we get into the first step, first thing they asked us to do is put one of the 331 resistors on the 331 pad. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by tinning the pad closest to the GPS. I'd rather work with the, I guess, more sensitive side first. And I'm actually going to go ahead and tin all 3 pads down because I need all of them tinned anyway, and I'd rather do it before This is now what I'm gonna find out. Hey, your soldering iron's not hot enough yet. Alright, there's a little bit of solder on that pad. A little bit of solder on that pad. A little bit of solder on that pad. All right, let's go ahead and get our 331 out. I am again setting up the 331 to operate being able to read the text upright. That's how they show it on the instructions. So I'm considering the top of the board the side with the LED, basically so when you're looking at the board you can read all of the text on the board. Again, 90% certain that none of this is actually polarized, but I'm also not willing to take the risk. All right, so now we're going to solder the opposing side on. All right, now the next one is the 0.1 microfarad going down. That is the guy in paper here. Again, we only need one of pretty much all of these that they've been so kind to give us duplicates of. And I am going to, in all of these videos, rant praises to EggTimer for giving us extra parts, because I never feel like I actually end up having enough parts. There was a request by EggTimer to go in and check the GPS module and make sure that it was actually, oh dear. Properly soldered on and that there were no issues with that soldering. I went and did that check. There were absolutely no issues. They did a wonderful job soldering it on. But they said occasionally their reflow process doesn't go great, so they just want us to check it and make sure for them. Alrighty, and then our last one is the 10 microfarad, and it's the one in the plastic case. The others were in paper. The 10 microfarad was in the plastic casing here. So set that off to the side. Alright, that's attached. I did not leave myself much room, so I'm actually going to turn this away from you guys while I solder the last side. Sorry, guys. Fortunately, it's what I get for not leaving myself a whole lot of room to get the getting the solder to attach to the pad. Does look like I may have gotten it. I'm going to go ahead and reflow the other side just to make sure it's attached. Okay, yep, it is attached to the pad. All right, so after doing those three, your next step is actually to do the LED. So I am going to grab this out of here real quick off screen. I grab things. So this guy's going to mount underneath this wiring nightmare, or wiring atrocity is another way to look at it. There will be some standoffs that they gave us that we'll put in here to hold it all in place. I'm trying to make sure that in the end when I put the LED in here, it's all going to fit. So on the LED, the long side is the positive, and that will go on the same side as there's a plus sign. So we're going to go ahead and slide the LED through there and push through, and then the way I deal with mounting them is I give a light bend out, and then they hold in there. But I'm wanting to make sure I'm going to be able to see the LED flashing from the other side, or am I going to want to mount it? Nope, actually it has to mount that way. It's the only way it works with the box. So that works for me. So next thing we're going to do real quick is mount this guy or solder this guy in place. Pretty straightforward process for soldering an LED. Just heat up the pad and the wire. Melt a little bit of solder on there. Perfect. This is a very, very tiny board. So while it makes this process go fast, it also makes this process rather difficult. Next thing we're going to do is actually nip the two wires here, cut them down so that they're not, ooh, that was not what I meant to do. One of those leads just shot over the edge of the table, so. All right, and last thing we're going to do is attach the pins. So the pins can either be attached on top here, going out off to the side, or on the bottom going underneath. I'm actually going to mount them to the bottom, tucking underneath, because that's the way I would like to use them. It also doesn't fit in my particular case if I mount them the other way. So I'm going to use a piece of tape. This is what they recommended in the previous LCD section for holding this in place while we solder the 3 pins. I would like to point out the fact that I have not even gotten into the solder they gave me for the GPS board. This is still the same piece of solder I used in the previous video for the primary LCD module. Alrighty. There is GPS. Probably means that's our TX. There's the ground pad. And this is the 3.3 volts. All right, and that's 3v3. All right, there does look to be a little piece of hair running across my board right now. It's probably my own, but I'm gonna go after it. All right, I got a hold of it and I got it out of there. Always keep an eye out for little things like that. It's just very important to not get hair in weird places. All right, so that is actually the entire board. Like, that's the entire process of building the board right there. That is it, it's done. The board is completely finished with that. The next thing is to actually mount it and attach it to your system. So I'm gonna go ahead for the moment use the hardware they provide, because I actually really like nylon hardware. I know I'm probably kind of weird for that, but I do. So use the nylon screw, put that through, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of just gently line everything up and let you see how this attaches on there. I know some people wouldn't necessarily do this in the order I tend to do stuff in, but I tend to do things backwards. That's part of why this company's called Inverted Pursuits, is because I never take the straight path. This is also how I usually end up mounting all my electronics to sleds. I never put the screws through and all the standoffs. I usually put one through and then I'm sitting here fighting the remainder. But that whole process feels safer to me. I do try to leave everything a little loose so that I can kind of gently flex stuff as I need. before I tighten it all down. So I'm mounting it before having tightened everything up. I'm gonna gently loosen, okay, the one over here, since that's my last one. This is also going to be my hardest one to get on because I've got to fight the switches that I've already put on for everything. All right, sorry I took that off screen there. Needed to use my chest to stabilize the whole assembly real quick. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna take my nylons. I know some people would probably go ahead and use like metal bolts. I feel a lot better using the nylons on this, especially since I'm gonna end up basically smashing the GPS module against the top. The GPS module always needs to be facing up. So the GPS module is stuck down in there and it's facing what will be the top of the board. So now the next thing we're gonna actually do is we're gonna plug in this wire they gave us to the pins here and to this bottom 3 set of headers here. It's actually labeled GPS when you can see it. Now I need to make sure that I match the same color of wires to the same color of labels. So everything is labeled GPS, ground, and 3v3. And on the top, I actually have it in reverse of that. I have 3v3, ground, and GPS. So it'll end up flipping the cable partway up. I would like my 3v3 to actually be the purple cable in here. So it's a purple, a blue, and a green. So I want GPS to be green, ground to be blue, and 3v3 to be purple. So now when I come over here, I need to gently flip the cable over, make sure purple is going into the 3v3 and green is going into the GPS line. And it'll look right about like that. So I'm still working on exactly how everything gets mounted to this particular board. It all doesn't want to line up perfectly at the moment. Probably gonna need to get some lock nuts for the GPS board. But that is how the GPS board now mounts in to this whole case. And that. Now this case was originally built to then also have a second LCD monitor over here running the voice module so that you get telemetry from your altimeter. At the moment I'm not going to run that. I'm using this box just for tracking, and I'll probably set up either build a whole second one of these boxes or expansion box that has like 3 wide, since, or maybe just even a small sliver, since I just want to add my T3 tracker in here. I want to have the option to use like the EggFinder for telemetry and the T3 for other stuff, but at the moment I'm building off what is a file I found online before I start modifying things. So then this whole thing will sit into our box. It's always a little bit of a trick getting everything to line up, but we will get there. But anyway, we're not really going to fight this too much more. That is how the GPS module mounts in there. I will show you in the next video how to put together the actual tracker that we're going to put in the rocket. And then video after that, we will show how the whole system connects and works together, and how this screen will actually guide me to my rocket. Without the GPS module, it would just give me GPS coordinates to where my rocket is. With this GPS module, it will actually tell me which direction I need to be going to find my rocket relative to my current position, which I'm really excited about. So thanks for watching, gang. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in watching part 1, there'll be a link card here at the end to go back and watch the first part of this video. And if you'd like to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. and I will see you all in the next video.